We'll go ahead and get started. This is the July meeting of the Delaware County Regional Wastewater District. You want to go ahead and call the roll, Penny?
Ray,
Here.
Pete,
Present.
Mike,
Here.
Joe,
Present.
Bill,
Here.
Brenda,
Here.
Ron.
Here.
All right, first order of business is the minutes of the previous meeting, June 1st. Everybody had a chance to review them?
Yes, sir.
I take a motion.
Make a motion, we accept them as written.
First,
I'll second.
have a first and second. Any changes or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Treasurer's report, Pete.
Claims from May 28th, 2022 through June 28th, 2022 totaling $242,586.67. Account balances as of May 27th, 2022. Cash operating balance, $420,000. Improvement fund balance, $1,802,769.90. And we received and deposited a redevelopment funds for the Daleville TIF in the amount of $112,932. At this time, I would move for approval of the claims in the amount of $242,586.67.
Second.
Have a first and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Old business, none listed there. Anybody have anything from the board? New business, employee health insurance?
We don't necessarily have to make a vote on this or anything as it stands right now, but we did receive on Tuesday when we came back into the office, we received our vision and dental policy renewal. I just wanted to get that out and put it on the agenda if we still wanted to move forward, just because it was a 0% increase this year for that. We reached out to the, it was West Point, right, Penny?
Yeah.
West Point, who handles our renewals for the chamber side of it, and they will be getting our medical to us by the end of this coming month.
There wasn't a raise in that either, was there?
We haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay.
But once I get that,
thinking you had
we'll
it.
give both out to the committee, and we'll be able to bring it to the committee to make a recommendation. But we did receive the vision and dental, so we sent that out with the board packet this month. So I don't know if there's really anything to move on until we have a full picture of what's going to be presented for the employee benefits there. So we could probably table that and bring it forward at a later date if we wanted to.
Is there any questions?
Yeah,
just-
I've got a question. Is that fully paid by regional wastewater, or? I've never seen that before.
That's the vision and dental, so it's the same split as the 80-20 on the employee health benefits on that medical.
Now, you mentioned the chamber here earlier, and we went outside of your past insurance company and found a better rate. Has anybody offered a better rate, or will the chamber have a rate that might be of less money on dental and vision?
They'll shop them all once they get the actual medical side of it in for us.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else?
Just as a general, are the employees happy with the coverage provided, and I know it's never enough, by the dental and vision policies?
I'll say as having a family on there, I'm pleased with the coverage we got.
Yeah.
And I've definitely, me and Penny was actually talking about other horror stories today that other entities deal with, so I think it's a pretty good gig right now, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, just
Okay. Westbrook,
We have a monthly disbursement request for the Westbrook project for Commonwealth this month for $3,078 that we'll need approval for we can get submitted to SRF.
you're good with that disbursement, Jason?
Yes, yep.
I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we allow that.
Got a first and a second here, Brenda and Ray. Is there any discussion?
What's the percentage complete?
We're at,
I would think that was in our packet, but I just don't remember.
I was gonna go off the percentage. 99.
And so I thought we were pretty close.
I was gonna say, I knew it was close. Okay. Good,
Good.
good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
If, under new business, Rob just got it to me today, if we wanna look at this as well. I attached it to his monthly report. Last month, we approved a change order for $95,577.90, and that work was gonna be ran through Atlas for, lift station work at the 600 and 500 lift stations for the Westbrook project. We have an additional change order that is for $37,880.25. It's for inlining the concrete, epoxying the concrete inside the lift station there. New rails and discharge pipe and new check valves in the actual valve pit there. So this is all at
500.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
So,
And this is the one north of Jackson.
correct.
Okay.
No, not the Glen, but the one closest to 332 there. Vern, south of Vern. Catty corner from Accutech.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yes. As a part of the last change order. Legitimately. And like that was.
Part of that, the original project, we upgraded the control panels there, new pump, a new pump. And part of the inlining there was at the Vern Circle as well, so.
Is that all right? I have to sign off on any of these change
will.
orders? They will?
We've already given heads up.
Okay.
So-
The one that the board previously. And
So this will leave us about $42,000 after this change order, is that correct?
correct.
Yeah, both of these contractors are one that one that's done manhole rehab concrete work for us in the past, Structure Solutions, I'm sorry. And Quality is the ones that we, majority of the time, buy our pumps from. They do all of our valve work that's bigger than what we're capable of. They're very familiar with both the contractors.
I make a motion for approval.
I'll second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Approved.
Yeah. Good shape.
For my report, this month in collections, out of the entire service area, we're setting at $2,878.03 in past due accounts. We did reconnect 2 properties this month, and that was because of tax payments that came in. Then part of that $2,878 is we still have the Rorton area that's in that 10-day notice period before disconnection, so that number is generally turns out to be a lot better than what it's wrote down here. We got those computers ordered, the 3 PCs in the office ordered with IT. Then, what else? Ashley got us over, again, kind of late because of the holidays. Her monthly report from Spotted Monkey. And you guys can flip through that, and if later on you guys would have any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to me and deliver those through Ashley or myself. Then we went over to Westbrook. And I think that is the only thing I have.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions for Jason at this time? Seeing none. Attorney, your turn.
The Del Harker Center easement is done and taken care of, so we were able, because they sold it, to get it all done in absolutely no time with the new owner that was coming in, and we've got all the space that we had before, so that issue is finally complete. The Farm Bureau, I did reach out to them. The committee is set to go meet with them on Friday at 9 to go through the facility. The email that I got from her made me feel like there was quite a bit they probably did not plan on taking. I guess we'll see, but I got the impression that they definitely have some stuff that they would like to not have to deal with, so hopefully that goes well. On the Beck Street property where we originally had sent the correspondence to the dad who gave us the information to his son, we never did hear anything. That total is $949.13. At this point, you know, the next step is going to be more expensive than just writing it off. So the board would need to let us know what you want to do with that $950.
Say 949.13.
Yeah.
Okay.
I move for writing it off.
I have a first, do I hear a second?
Second,
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
don't like to, but
At,
will.
at what point do we decide, I mean, I know the cost when it overruns it. Is there a dollar amount that we decide to throw it out,
I think it's a
basically?
case by case. One of the problems with this one is he's not in this state,
That's
and
the-
if we have to
Okay.
domesticate a foreign judgment, I mean,
That's why.
you're
then
gonna
on
be
this one-
2-3
On
times
this
that
one.
amount to get an attorney out there
Sure.
and deal with all that process. So, you know, sometimes $1,000 is a good benchmark to go one way or the other, but in this case, we have multiple extra steps that make it really not feasible for you guys.
Good explanation on this one then, yes.
IMI, I think.
Hang on a sec.
Oh, sorry.
All in favor?
Oh, yeah, good point.
Aye.
We didn't.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carried.
On IMI, I think we are there. The person that we have dealt with, Doug Lehman, was supposed to have a meeting to approve the contract last Tuesday. I emailed them Wednesday wanting to know if all went well. One of them had something come up, and they emailed me and said they weren't able to meet before our meeting today, but they were meeting soon. So we are just waiting on them to approve the language in the agreement so that I can get it to you guys for approval. And then the only other thing that I did not get done, I had a little bit of a hiccup with some treatment issues this month, was the CAMAC agreement with Yorktown dealing with the Heritage Place homes. So I've got it started, I just didn't get it completed before today. So, and I'll get that Pete over to
Perfect.
you as soon as I do. It's not gonna be anything elaborate, but,
That it?
yep, that's all I have.
Okay. Spotted monkey. Nope, she's not. I didn't know. No committee reports.
Well, I'd like to go back. Danielle?
Yeah.
On those two pieces of property,
IMI and Farm Bureau?
yes.
Okay.
That's still going to be contingent on running the final financial through the plant, am I correct? We're not going to dish out all that money at one time.
No, we're not dishing it out all at one time. The only thing with the Farm Bureau, so we have until August 31st of next year to close on Farm Bureau. And we had discussed if push came to shove with financing, there was money that we could use to purchase, and then they added into the funding, so we'd basically just replace the money. But no.
My conversations with Commonwealth and the SRF, as soon as we get the anti-dig, SRF would kick in, and then we would know. We should be within, would you agree, in that time frame we would know? I mean, I hope we know by August of '23 that we've got ground broken moving forward. I don't want this to continue on forever.
And the other fail-safe,
And Danielle's right, those costs are,
Right.
yeah.
And with
then-
that,
whether it's funded through you or it's funded through SRF.
Yeah, and then the extra layer of protection on the IMI property, it's obviously much less cost-wise, but they want the property back if we can't build the plant. So we
Right.
wouldn't have an issue.
and as you, well, from our previous meeting, we're still working with MSD and negotiating there as well, them back and forth. So we've got two different balls, two different things going on at the same time here.
And I guess on that note, we haven't heard anything from MSD. You know, the ball's
We
in.
did hear today.
Email today from John, just right prior to the board meeting, that says that they did the flow, they're completing the flow metering in Tanglewood, and that, as far as them having everything they need to make the next step or make us another offer, that he believes that they got everything, so.
That if we didn't hear nothing else, they had all they needed, and he would reach out if they needed something. So they're not waiting on us. They have everything that they need from us at this
Picking up
point.
the cost on that flow meeting. right?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and they mentioned, possibly leaving something in place if, they might want to make a recommendation to our board about leaving a full-time flow meter in there in place instead of just doing a monthly average on that. So I told him if they got something together, we didn't bring that to the board as well with the recommendation.
Any other questions? All right, seeing that, I believe Commonwealth.
Jeff did send in his report as well. It was attached to the board packet.
Right.
It just, there was nothing in his report.
Okay.
I think we pretty much hit on where we're at with Westbrook. So we're punching out the original contract work. There's some as-built that needed to be cleaned up, and one of the creek crossings or stream crossings that they had constructed for access purposes when they were building the interceptor still needs to be removed. They had left it because it was their only access point to a handful of properties back on that back side. So that needs to come out. And then one of the property owners, and I apologize, the name escapes me, it might be in the report, had contacted my inspector and voiced some displeasure about some rocks that were left in their yard. So that's been passed along to Atlas, and I've been in contact, talked to him earlier today and told him, get me a schedule when you're going to be on site to get these handful of things wrapped up. We haven't released any retainage yet, so even though they've got 2/3 of the punch list knocked out, we're still holding 100% of the retainage for the whole job. They're not necessarily happy about it, but that's our leverage to make sure this stuff gets done. Beyond that, we talked about some of the change order work. As you all recall, we had a significant amount of contingency funds left over, kind of a use it or lose it sort of thing. So we're taking the opportunity to continue to upgrade not only the 600 lift station, but as we talked earlier, the lift station over on 500. At the end of the day, we're extending the useful life of that station another 15 or 20 years by making these upgrades. So we're getting this area of your collection system in really good shape for now and well into the future. We've talked about the plant. The anti-DAG has been officially submitted to IDEM. We're going to have to start thinking now about next steps, and that's going to be at some point we're going to have to get rolling on design. So that needs to be on our radar. And then Oakville. We had my partner, Al Strong, and I had a conference call with Jim McGough back before the holiday. Jim McGough's with the Indiana Finance Authority, SRF. And they had expressed some interest in participating in the Oakville project, but also participating in another project out in the West Dell area. And they're interested, but we've got to play by their rules, just like we did on past SRF-funded projects. So what does that mean? It means they're interested in participating in our project, but we've got to go through the PER and the SRF application process. So I was talking to Danielle before the meeting. Apparently VS had done a PER for the West Dell piece of it 2-3 years ago.
About 2 years ago, the commissioners had a study done.
I'd be curious if we could see it to see what kind of format it's in, because SRF's going to require certain formatting, and then you're going to want to get the cost updated on that. But beyond that, it needs to be updated to include the Oakville project, because the way Jim wants it all to go down, he wants to lump the two together. So I don't know if this means we need to have additional dialogue with the commissioners or how you want to handle it, but after that was brought to our attention and we were tasked with talking to the finance authority, we had that discussion. They're interested in participating, but procedurally we'll have to treat it like any other SRF funded project. So you got to have a planning report, SRF application. From a scheduling standpoint, we wouldn't know until probably this time next year where we fell on their PPL list, although I suspect, given the interest in the regionalization components to both, we'll know in advance on where we're going to score. But technically, we wouldn't find out how we would get funded until probably June, July of next year. And that's just how their fiscal years are set up. The applications for this year had to go in by April. Their list should be published any day now for the wastewater projects. And anybody that didn't get funded would fall into the pooling category. So even if we were to submit an application here in the next month or two, we're likely going to be fairly far down on the list. So you'd be looking at next year's fiscal calendar anyway.
Rob, can you explain to the board what the Westdale project is?
I can. So the Westdale project, long story short, everybody familiar with where Westdale School is out on 28 there in 600? So that school is in the wastewater treatment plant business, and they're very much interested in getting out of it. All right, they have a packaged treatment plant that sits, I think it's in that bus lot just on the north side of the school. So they've, over the years, sunk a lot of money into maintaining and operating that little packaged wastewater treatment plant. And they're ready to get out of that aspect of the business. So they've approached the town of Gaston. I think they've even approached Jason. What are their options? And when we approached the commissioners with this topic, they were interested in helping out. So it basically would involve decommissioning the treatment plant at Westdale, putting in a pump station, and pumping it up to Gaston. Now, that has somewhat grown since that original concept was birthed into regionalizing it on out to I-69 and that whole interchange out there. So that regionalization aspect of it is very appealing to the SRF and Indiana Finance Authority folks, and obviously it's appealing to the county commissioners as well.
Is Gaston set up to?
They got capacity to take the school, and
They have capacity if I-69 exploded.
Well, just like anybody else, if I-69, if additional development comes in at I-69, Gaston is going to have to look to expand their plant, but they've got room to do it on their site.
Okay.
The
We just
gentleman who's at that plant in Gaston,
Yes.
he is going, somebody, I forget what the name of the company is training him up there to run that. And I was hoping he'd be done in time for us to pull him away from there.
Clint? Are you talking about Clint?
Yes.
He's
He's a character, but he's,
I know him.
Me and
yeah.
Rob spent a couple years
He's training,
rebuilding that plant.
he's being trained under Eaton's operator.
yeah. Yeah, he's a character, but
But that's the Westdale, when we refer to the Westdale project, it's decommissioning their packaged treatment plant and sending their flow to Gaston.
And so the board,
Eventually growing out toward the interstate so that whole corridor can grow.
that'd be
and
great.
you know what the commissioners have pledged to Oakville, which is 3.5 that was approved. Also, the Westdale, there was 400,000 approved over there for that from the commissioners when it was just going to go to Gaston. Then the conversation with Jim McGraw happened by accident, and he wanted to combine. So seeing what we could put together and then what they're willing to finance and what we come back at the 25, 50, or 75% forgiveness.
Yeah, I think it's a great project out
We just
there.
throw, if we, because we could end up saving money on Oakville. It could be, we can shift that around. So basically, we've got $3.9 million that we have versus whatever SRF is going to put in and what they're going to forgive. So we just need to go through the process. I think it's a win-win. What it does is it opens up about 1,000 or 2,000 acres up there in an area that has struggled desperately for development. And it's needed. I mean, it's a great interchange. It just, There is no utilities up there. So we talked not only about the sanitation, but also water, moving it out there because everyone's on well. And that gas station down there, there is another lift station there as well that we would be able to eliminate, that they have to use there, that they've got going. So
Where do they currently pump to? The gas station? They're not a septic, they're not
I
on
think
their
it's a
own?
pump and haul, or
I don't,
Pump and haul?
I don't know that they're connected. I mean, who would they be connected to?
they're not connected, they're on their own. They're either pumping and hauling, or they've got a pit of their own.
What about the west side interstate, is
R&L,
that what it is?
yeah, R&L Trucking, I do not know there. And then on the other side it is Aunt Millie's
Yeah.
warehouse. I don't know what they,
I mean,
what I was told was everyone was on a septic in a well up there. There is no
sense.
utilities whatsoever around there.
So Rob, what's the next step for us? What action does this board need to take?
Well, we need to get, if there's hope from the commissioners that the report that they commissioned, paid for 2 years ago, is usable, then we need to get a copy of it and see what kind of shape it's in and see what would need to be done to it to get it to a point where SRF would approve it. At a minimum, the costs need to be updated, and we need to add in the Oakville project. And then at that point, it's just a matter of taking the PER and an SRF application and get it submitted and see what happens.
I can get that, Commissioner. I'll get that and get it over.
There's a problem there with the Dollar General store too. It's
PER.
just north of Gaston. They flush their toilet and the guy next door's, his backs up. So that would be something that might be able to be solved with this project.
Anything else, Rob?
So, I've got a question on
Yes.
the design. Do we have a design proposal and I've just forgotten about it for the
For-
plant, or?
We had a contract that we assembled 18 months, 24 months ago because we had to include it in the RD application.
Uh-huh.
It would probably be sufficient to get started, but those are also based off of costs from 2017. So,
And I mean, things have gone down since then, so you want to reduce
obviously,
it, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Great.
But you guys had us put together a contract because we needed it for the RD application. So it's, some version of it already exists. But we did not solicit notice to proceed. So procedurally, we would just ask for notice to proceed on whatever phase you felt like authorizing.
So when is the comment period for the anti-dag?
It's either 30 or 45 days. I'll have to get with Brady and double check.
So are we in a position where, at August 1st, we should be doing something from the contract standpoint?
I think by your meeting, I think we need to be ready to make some type of decision at your August meeting.
I'd like a week advance to study whatever you're going to ask us to do.
I'll get it to you. I can email it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it, I just,
And in the meantime, we'll get, I'll have Brady update his timeline. Just from the regulatory side of the table, because we submitted it, they're gonna comment on it, we're gonna address those comments, and then once they're satisfied, that's when their public notice period starts, so. I'll have him update that, I'll email that to Jason, and he can distribute it to the board. And then in the meantime, I can get you what was previously.
yeah,
used.
and I'm just thinking we want to continue to move forward. So
Well,
if we're in a
part of it
position in
is,
August to make,
is putting pressure on others.
yeah. So,
Rob, thank you for giving each one of us a book, too. I appreciate that.
you're going to read
We
it
do.
tonight, Joe?
You know what? I'll have it read by next meeting, I guarantee.
I'll guarantee you will.
No, I will.
I have fallen,
Then I'll have the
asleep
questions.
4 times through it, but
You, believe me, when you get to the chapter that Crow's input was in, you know that it's gone from engineer to
to account.
finance, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We'll be ready for my questions, no. Starting on page, what, just after the table of contents.
We'll have Jennifer in here next meeting for question and answer.
I don't have anything else, Bill.
Okay. Any, the board have any questions? Seeing none. I show nothing else on the agenda. Does anybody on the board have anything? Is anybody in the audience? Public comment?
I believe so, but I've not followed up, but I know I've had conversations with Jason and George, and nobody is bringing it up, so that has to help. So, yeah. I guess that leads me to a question. We're not doing our secondary monitoring. Meters are in, and we can't seem to get a rain, so. Did we?
Last week,
Okay,
I actually just got the email today, I parsed through it.
okay.
Send a summary. We
We didn't.
It rained at the lift station.
Very little. Okay, seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
make a motion. that we
Got a first
adjourn.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Giddy up, huh?
Are adjourned.